What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Get Over Yourself podcast, a podcast dedicated to self development, self improvement, and helping you achieve the goals that you've laid forth in your life. I'm your podcast host, Brandon Davis, and in today's episode, we're going to be diving into what's new with Get Over Yourself. For many of you, Get Over Yourself has been a journey you've been on for about a year now. The podcast has been running since August of 2021. So for all my day ones out there, thank you so much for everyone who is still with me and to everyone who's brand new. If this is the first time you're seeing Get Over Yourself, whether you're watching the video or just listening on the audio, welcome. Today's episode, we've been running, like I said, for a year now. So I just want to go over everything that has been going on, kind of what Get Over Yourself is going to look towards here in the future, some of my plans, as well as some of the new equipment I'm setting up. It's kind of a lot of random stuff up in the air right now. So this episode, there's no content, there's no interviews, anything like that. I'm really just going into kind of what my future plans are. So if you like hearing a little bit about this, if you're interested, if you are new, like I said, and you don't know what Get Over Yourself is, this episode is perfect for you. So make sure to stick around. And with all that being said, let's jump into today's episode. So guys, to give a little bit of a framework or I guess a background on what Get Over Yourself is, I would like to start from the beginning. Many of you know this story, but for once again, all those who are new out there, Get Over Yourself is something I've been focusing on for, going back past high school, maybe even middle school time. And it's something that I've always kind of strove for inside of my life. So if you ever hear that term, get over yourself, I don't know if you've ever seen it in a movie, read it in a book, or mentioned it to one of your friends in passing before. But get over yourself, kind of the meaning of it, at least to me, is recognizing that there's a lot more in life than your own challenges. There's a lot more in your life that is going on that you don't necessarily have to dwell on the tiny little moments. You don't have to dwell on the small things that, when you look at the grand scheme of things, isn't so much of a big deal. So to jump back into the backstory of it a little bit, like I mentioned, back in high school is when I really started getting into this phrase, get over yourself. And at first it was almost like a joke to many of my friends or my family members, because whenever someone was having a rough day, myself included, but a lot of times when somebody was having a rough day, one of my friends, family members, I'd say, guys, it's okay, just get over yourself. And after a while, I think everyone started getting a little bit annoyed. They were like, oh my gosh, shut up. All he ever says is get over yourself. I'll have friends coming to vent to me and stuff. And I'll just be like, it's fine. Get over yourself. And of course, obviously, I listen to their issues and try and work some things out. And this is the same principle for my own life. But the principle stood where I started recognizing in the long run that, wow, you can actually get over yourself. A lot of these small, minute little incidents inside of my life, they're not as big as I thought they were. And so once I started saying get over yourself, either to myself or my friends and family, once again, I started recognizing a little bit of a change in my own mindset. And for the people who have been listening for the past year now, you know I'm a big believer in having a growth mindset. Carol Dweck, everyone go do some research on your own about her. I won't get into the nitty gritty of it, but she is one of my biggest fans. I love her so much because she recognized the difference between that fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So just quick summary of what that is. Fixed mindset is basically when you're stuck in your ways. You feel like your way is always correct and you're not willing to change for anything. A growth mindset is quite the opposite. It's where you're always learning to adapt. You're always learning to see how you can improve. You recognize that your way isn't always right. And that's often very hard for people, especially people with more outgoing personalities like myself. It's often hard to have that growth mindset because a lot of times I think I'm right, or somebody with my same personality traits, those red characteristics, they might think they're right. But overall, the entire point Carol Dweck, and the reason why I'm jumping on this, why she expands over a growth mindset, is because, as the research shows, they're far better in their testing, in their schooling, their business ventures, basically in all forms of life. If you have a growth mindset, if you're not fixed in your own ways, and you're willing to change and hear new ideas and sample different opinions and whatnot, you're going to be more successful in pretty much everything you do. And that category has been tested through and through. And so why I was jumping into that a little bit is because when I started having that growth mindset for get over yourself, I started recognizing that, yeah, sometimes life sucks. Sometimes things go downhill. Sometimes life isn't what you always want it to be. God or the universe or whatever you believe in, sometimes you get challenges sent your way. And you might not always understand it or understand why you're getting put through that situation. You may be one of the best people on the planet going through a rough time. But at the end of the day, we all still go through challenges. Don't get me wrong. I've said this many times on the podcast before. Some people have challenges that are a little bit greater than others. Some people have challenges that are a little bit simpler. But at the end of the day, we all have challenges. So where does get over yourself come in? It comes in with everything. You had a rough day? Get over yourself. You're trying to do better in a work position and it just isn't working out? Get over yourself. You're an athlete and you just broke a bone? Get over yourself. Figure out ways that you can get around it. Because at the end of the day, I think the main message I want to share with my audience, and once again, practice in my own life, is that we all go through things. But at the end of the day, the real champions, the ones who are able to overcome all odds, the people you read about in the history books, the most successful people on earth right now, they go through their challenges and they don't sit back and let life take them down. They don't wait for these opportunities to come by them and just sit them by. They grab them by the reins. They get beat down and they stand right back up. Boom, hit down, stand right back up. Boom, hit down, stand right back up. So that's my mentality with get over yourself. For me, that's my power phrase. That's everything to me. Get over yourself in all aspects of life. Where I think I know everything, get over yourself. Where I'm hurt, get over myself. It's this simple little strategy. And many people think, wow, that's pretty extreme of you, isn't it? But in reality, I don't think it is. I think a lot of times if we sit back and we let life take us over, we let all of our trials and our errors and our unaccomplishments reign inside of our life, I think we're letting that take over us. And it's tough to say now in today's society because it's a very miscued conception that everything should just be handed to you. And I don't believe that's true. I believe that you should work for everything. You should work towards your goals, your aspirations, your spiritual life, your finances, your family, your friends. Everything in life takes work. So if you're willing to put in that work, I believe good outcomes will eventually happen. So get over yourself, guys, is exactly that. It's a mindset. It's a life principle. It's something I live by. And that's the entire reason I started this podcast. It's to share that exact same principle with every single person I could. It's now growing into something a little bit more. And that's another reason why I wanted to jump into this episode. Get over yourself is expanding. In the past month alone, we've gained over 1,000 listeners. And this is something I'm so ecstatic about. As far as updates on where Get Over Yourself is going, many of you know, if you're new to the episodes, you don't necessarily know this, but if you've been here for quite a while, you recognize that I'm now doing audio and video as well. In the past, I've just done audio for the Get Over Yourself podcast, but I'm experimenting a little bit. As you can tell, if I could show around a little bit here, everything is still in the works. This entire setup, I'm still working on it. But now that I set it up partially, I kind of wanted to just give a little bit of an update. So as far as Get Over Yourself is concerned, I've now registered it as a LLC here in the state of Utah. For those who don't know, I currently go to Brigham Young University in Provo, Utah. So I'm all set up there. It's a legal business. I've started running ads, as many of you have heard, and it provides me a little bit of income for how much work I put in the podcast. Other little details that I don't know if anyone cares, but once again, this is just an episode to kind of throw this out there. It takes a lot of time to run these episodes, especially now that I'm going to be adding video. Between the people I interview, setting all those calls up, like the pre-work calls, making sure it'd be a good fit to have somebody on the podcast. Those take a lot of time. Preparing the specific episodes, kind of writing scripts and contacting back and forth with the people that I'm going to be interviewing, the actual recording process, especially if I am interviewing somebody, it takes so much time to get all that organized. And then you go into the logistics of it where you have to do the audio editing and now the video editing. Get Over Yourself takes a long time, guys. So now that I have it declared as an official business, now that I'm kind of getting more guests on here and whatnot, I'm getting the new setup, I'm in a new office space for it, there's exciting stuff happening. One other thing I wanted to mention real quick, I just won a grant from Brigham Young University. They often partner with venture capitalist firms as well as just kind of angel investors who see the potential in an idea, and they're willing to give you some seed money in exchange for 0% equity in your company, which is just amazing. It's a beautiful opportunity. They're really just investing back into their students, which is awesome. I don't have to give any of the money back. And once again, they don't take anything of my company. So I just want a little bit of money. So I'm going to be using that towards advertising and getting new guests on the podcast. There's a lot of beautiful things in store. So I'm really excited about that. Guys, this is a lot of random information. Once again, the entire reason I made this episode is just, I guess maybe in some ways it's just to clear my own head a little bit. There's been a lot going on inside my life, and I feel like Get Over Yourself has been such a big part of that recently. I haven't felt like I've needed to give updates or anything like that. So I apologize to anyone who's new. Welcome to all those who have been sticking it with me since day one. I really do appreciate you. I'm excited for everything we have in store. And as we kind of work on this space and everything else I have going on for Get Over Yourself, stick with me. If you ever feel like you can help me out in any way, please feel free to message me. I hope these episodes are helping you. That's why I produce them. Obviously, I'm trying to turn it into my own personal business, but the main core of why I do this, I've been working for the past year for hardly any money. I don't even know how many hours I've totaled up, but the main reason I do this is just to give service back to everyone who listens. So guys, I appreciate you. I appreciate the willingness you have to share my episodes, to contact me if you're going through any issues like that. Get Over Yourself is in a really good state right now. Eventually, we're going to start branching out to coaching, getting other people on the podcast and interviews, as well as hiring our own employees and whatnot. But for now, we're in a new building. I have a new setup. As you can see, still working on it. And I'm getting a little bit of money here and there for creating the episodes, making it go a little bit more viral, and hopefully helping a couple more people out. So guys, this just, once again, test run. I appreciate you sticking with it. If you're still here, thank you for watching. And just remember, it'll all be okay. Just take a step back and get over yourself.